Okay, so Little Boy Lost and Little Boy Found, both in Songs of Innocence, following on from each other. The focus of these poems is about parental neglect, parental failure, and vulnerability as well. Remember, Blake was a strong proponent, supporter of equality, of children being treated fairly, because that's not what happened within Blake days. Children were neglected. So this poem focuses on that idea of neglect, and kind of the consequences of that. So within this first stanza here: Father, Father, where are you going? Oh, do not walk so fast. Speak, Father, speak to your little boy, or else I shall be lost. We have the rhetorical question here, the kind of imploring repetition here, the "oh, do not speak so fast." So that kind of proclamation, I suppose, as there, and we have the little boy here. All of these suggest a sense of pathos to the poem. It kind of suggests that this little boy is vulnerable. He needs guiding, yet his father does not guide him. His father leaves him behind, and in a sense it abandons him. Okay, and it's quite interesting, really, because obviously if it's a neglectful father, is it such a bad thing that he's been abandoned? I suppose that's something to think about further. But this little boy, Blake uses pathos to suggest the vulnerability of the little boy, as the little boy is abandoned by his father. And we see in the second stanza: the night was dark, no father was there. So the little boy is now lost. The child was wet with dew, the mire was deep, the child did weep, and away the vapour flew. So what we've got is, with night, dark, dew, mire, vapour, we've got lots of, I suppose, negative language, language to do with misery, language to do with discomfort, language to do with being hidden. So metaphorically, without the guidance of a parent, what happens is the child becomes lost. This is nature, not as the pastoral ideal that Blake often used, but this is a place of danger. This is a place of loss. Some people suggest that this is a poem about being godless, about not having a divine relationship, of rejecting God's love, and the loss that you will suffer. But we will see as we go into Little Boy Found why I think perhaps maybe that is an interpretation, but why I think this particular interpretation is easier to follow. So the language within this second stanza, obviously we've got the night is dark, a time of darkness, metaphorically representing the ability to be guided, the ability, that sense of loss. We also have the mire was deep. A mire is kind of a muddy bog where the child becomes entrapped. The child cannot spiritually grow through the guidance of the parent, without the parent's care. This idea about the vapour is quite interesting, because we've mentioned before that mist tends to represent being hidden, but here the vapour flies away. So if the vapour flies away, then it means that the boy is no longer hidden, which suggests that there may be this kind of revelation at hand. Some people, though, some critics, have seen this vapour as being, I don't know if you've heard of will-o'-the-wisp. It's kind of a phosphorescent light that you will find around bogs. It's to do with the gases combusting. It's not a common sight at all, but it suggests the child weeps, and the vapour flew away. The night went out. The light, went out. This will-o'-the-wisp disappeared, leaving the child in complete darkness and without hope. So you've got that double interpretation of that last line. So this child is lost through parental neglect, and we have the metaphorical images of loss within that second stanza. When we go to the little boy found, we see this little boy who's lost. He's wandering around a lonely fen, but he's led by a wandering light, and God appears to him. Okay, so this kind of wandering light, maybe, I don't know, maybe the will-o'-the-wisp that he was following, maybe the idea that he is approaching God, but he's discovered by God, he's found by God. Now God, despite his cries, God appears, and he appears like a father in white. And it's interesting that the simile "like his father" is used, because God is, in essence, he's kind of the figure of care. He's what the father should be. If we think back to On Another Sorrow, that idea that having care, if we all have care and empathy, God cares for us all, and Blake wants us all to have that same sense of care and empathy. That's similar to here. The little boy is lost, yet through God as a caring deity finds the little boy and leads the little boy back to his parents. He is the father figure, the nurture that we should all be, as in An Another Sorrow. So we have that, the figure in white. He kisses the child and leads by the hand. So notice he's kind of like the antithesis of the father here. The father is walking fast, where God leads by the hand. So he's doing as the parent should. That the neglectful parent will lead by the hand, not stride upon a head. And he brings the child to his mother. Now the child's mother, sorrow pale, so she's been in sorrow, she's been weeping, she wants the child back, and that's supposed to say Dale, but it didn't come out very well in the photocopying. Notice that she's looking in the Dale, whereas the little boy has been in the fen. So despite her grief, despite her sorrow, the mother's searching is ineffective. The mother is, but she's not as ineffective as the father. The father's left the child, but the mother's searching has been ineffective. And what we've got to suggest is, well, what hope does this child have? It exemplifies, I think the two poems exemplify the vulnerability of the child. They exemplify the importance of God's love and of God's guidance, but it also really heightens that sense of what hope does that child have if the child has neglectful parents. Why are these two poems in Innocence? Well, I think maybe because the focus really is on the danger of vulnerability, the vulnerability of the child, if the child has those neglectful parents, as was common in Blake's day.